Here's to Main Street, not Wall Street. Here's to being invested in each other. Here's to a return to what matters. Elevations Credit Union. It matters where you bank. Visit us online to see why.
All right, well, good morning to all of you. My name is Chandra Hall. I've had the pleasure of working with a number of you in the room before. I've got a bunch of initials after my name, like many of you do. I've been licensed in the business 17 years. I currently live down the street in Colorado Springs, and I have a residential resale practice there, and as well as do some home building and home remodeling. My dad is a builder and developer, so I learned that side of the business from him. Now, I'm also a third-generation realtor. My grandma was in the business. Do we have any generational realtors in the room? People worked with parents or grandparents? Not a one. Usually there's a couple of us. All right, well, this is my grandma, and you can see I found this old picture of her in her office back in Wichita, Kansas, which is where I was raised and started my career there. And the picture's a little bit fuzzy. You know, it was actually taken BC, before computers, right? So it was back in the day. In fact, can anyone tell me what this is? Typewriter. You know, looking at that and thinking of the technology, it reminds me of that saying, old habits die hard, which I think is so, so true. Take a look. Old habits do die hard. And technology, changes at the speed of light, doesn't it? So certainly part of our topic today. Now, in full disclosure, I know this is scary. There are two of me and my identical twin. Yep, there we are. For my technology lovers, the tech side of twins, copy and paste. Now, a couple months ago, I just got married, so I'm excited about that. Two months ago, newlywed, yeah. And you know, we move pretty fast. We already have kids. There they are. Just doing the furry ones. That's it for us. So let's jump right into your material. Now, this topic of social media, we're going to kind of take it a step back, and here's why. I believe that in this industry, our database is our goal. Would you all agree with that? Now, would you also agree, though, that some of us don't maybe give our database the attention that we should? Yes, right? It's one of those things. So let's just have a quick conversation about that, and then we're going to touch on the online strategies, some high tech, as well as some high touch, right? So we'll do both. So here's the deal with the database. It is the keys to a successful business, and I know there are tons of options out there. And if we were to take a poll in the room, we'd probably get so many different answers. People use all sorts of different ones. I'm not here to tell you you should use a particular one. I'm a fan of the one you'll use, right? That's the one I want you to be focused on, the one that you'll use. Now, here's the opportunity. Use technology to help you gather information about your clients, and this is where social media can come in. So this is just a checklist that we put together. This is what we work to get information on every single client. Now, it's not an interrogation. You know, we're not going to interrogate them and find out all the answers and ask them about it like that, but we are going to work to gather this information so we have it in our database. You know, last month I was in New Jersey teaching a course there, and there was a gal in the room who shared that one of her biggest returns on her marketing dollar, she sends her clients' pets' birthday cards. Can you believe that? Now, some of you in the room are like, oh, and some of you in the room are like, I would turn in my license before I do that, right? So it's not about do what other people are doing, right? It's about be original, do what works for you. But I would encourage you, start gathering the information. Is anybody in here familiar with Harvey Mackay? Anybody familiar with Harvey Mackay? You know, famous businessman. He was made famous. He actually started an envelope company that just, became this huge conglomerate. And one of the things that he's also known for in a sales capacity is the Mackay 66. Have you ever heard of that? You can Google this document. You can find it. It's just a PDF online that you can get. And I love the Mackay 66. It's M-A-C-K-A-Y, and then the number 66. Because what it is they created this years ago, and all of his salespeople, they have to find out those 66 pieces of information about every client. So they are really known for, being in a sales and service industry, and that's how they have built their business. And what's interesting about real estate is you think about our industry is supposed to be so repeat and referral. And NAR has done a lot of research. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. 86% of people said, I liked my realtor. I'd use him again. And then when they followed up and said, well, let's see how many people did use their realtor again. Does anybody know what that percentage is? Do you remember? 10%. 10%. How do you go from an 86% satisfaction rate to a 10% repeat usage rate in a business that is supposed to be repeat and referral? Now, you all tell me, why do you think? But they just forgot our name, right? We just didn't stay in touch, that's all. So we're going to talk about a few systems on how you can do that, a few things kind of old school, as we may call it, as well as taking advantage of technology. But it certainly starts with your database. Now, working your database is pretty simple. I know a lot of you have probably heard of the method Ford. Maybe you subscribe to this method. It's been around in sales. It's not unique to our industry for sure, but it's been around in sales for a long time, and it's simply a way of communicating with people. It's an acronym. And the F stands for what? Family, great. O is occupation, recreation, and then the D is dreams. So all it is calling up people and just having a conversation with them. You know, hey, so how's your family? My gosh, last time we talked, I think, Kim was getting ready to head off to college, and where did she end up going, and how is that happening, and so forth, right? So just very easy to have conversations. And then use the technology to record that information. I'm a big fan of Socratic selling. I think many of us can probably look back on our years in the business so far, and we could probably see that the better we got at asking questions, the better realtors we became, right? So it's not about let's just spout out everything we can at people. It's let's ask some great questions, and so we'll look at some examples of that. And the old marketing principle of pain and pleasure. If we want people to do something, what are they more motivated by? Avoiding pain or gaining pleasure? Avoiding pain, right? It's a huge, huge motivator. So people will do more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure. So let's think about this from a marketing standpoint. Let's say that you were going to do a marketing piece, maybe a blog or something online. Maybe you're going to put a post on your Facebook page. Which headline do you think you'd like? Chandra sells Colorado one client at a time, or how to sell your home for top dollar? Which one? How to sell your home for top dollar, right? Now, the majority of us in the industry were taught to go with the other one, right? We like Chandra sells Colorado one client at a time. It's got some nice alliteration in it. It's a nice marketing phrase from that standpoint. But here's the principle. Identify their pain and how you solve it. People are so concerned about getting top dollar for their home, right? So that's what we would do, is identify their pain and how they solve it. Pain is going to be more beneficial to us than the pleasure. And then adding people. I would encourage all of you to have a goal of adding people, not just adding people just to get the numbers. I have met in my travels around this country, and I'm a CRS instructor and some of the other seminars and things that I do. It's amazing to me, the realtors that I've met, who will have 100, maybe 150 people in their database, and they will have all the business they could ever want. And the reason is because even though we say sales is a numbers game, I like to say sales is a relationship game, right? So the more we're in relationship with people, the more we'll get those referrals. And, so it's not about how many can I get in my database and the one with the largest numbers wins. We're not as concerned about that. But we know that people like to work with people they know, like, and trust. Now, there was an interesting study that was done, and if you're not convinced that you need to increase your internet presence through social media and some other things, you will after you hear this. There was a study done, and it talked about how many realtors the average person knows. Anybody want to take a guess? I have a 5. 10. 10 was the answer. The average person knows 10 realtors. Now, that's kind of scary for us. Now, the study went on to say, as they were studying people's behavior, they found that it was a 9 to 21 month time frame from when an individual maybe brought it up with their spouse or significant other about wanting to move or do something different with real estate. 9 to 21 months, that whole process kind of incubation period. But when they were ready to do something within that time frame, they chose the realtor that they worked with in 1 to 3 days. Now, those are some scary numbers, because then you think, well, how do I be that realtor of choice? How can I be in front of them in the 1 to 3 days? And that's what's so great about technology today, is we can take advantage of it to have just some systems in place so that we do remain top of mind for people. All right, as far as your marketing plan, I will tell you one of the biggest returns for any of us would be sit down and write out a marketing plan. I tell you, my assistant and I, every year, we get that, those big calendars that you get from the title company, those big desk ones? So we each get one of those, and we just schedule half a day, and we sit down and we plan out the marketing for the year. And what's great about that is we know that the experts say once a year is not enough. Then they went to mail something once a quarter, be in front of people quarterly. And now we know that no more than 30 days should go by that people don't see or hear from us in some fashion. So we just use this big calendar and we start mapping it out. Now, we take it to a different level because what we realize is if we start mapping it out, like for example, in March, on St. Patrick's Day, we like to send out a St. Patrick's Day card with a little scratch-off ticket. Now, not a new idea. Maybe a lot of you in the room do that. But we know that in order for that to occur, it has to be mailed a certain number of days before, right, to get to them at an appropriate time. We also know that somebody needs to get the cards, somebody needs to get the scratch-offs and the labeling and all of that. So we just simply write out all of the accountabilities on this calendar. So she has a copy, my assistant, I have a copy, and there's something about having this visual right in front of us in our office that really has a huge impact. Now, we use, Google Apps, so we're big Google users, and, Dropbox and all this as well. But there's something about having it right in front of you, and we don't have to open a piece of technology to see us. That's really kept us on track and, helped us kind of up our game. So I would encourage you, if you don't have a written marketing plan, please consider doing that. Now, what would be a tool that could drive traffic to your website, maybe even create some buzz, right, generate word of mouth, and even help you sell more real estate? What would you all say? What's a marketing tool that you think can do that? This was supposed to be the participation part, by the way. I know. Yes, please. Reach 150. And what does that do? Okay, great. So Reach 150, it's a tool that allows you to collect and post online your testimonials or success stories, whatever you like to call those, from past clients. So thank you for sharing that. And I will say, it's interesting how our industry has lagged behind with the reviews. Would you all agree with that? Think about TripAdvisor. Think about going on Amazon, and when you're looking to buy something, you click on the reviews. So our industry has kind of lagged behind on that, but it is coming. So we would all be well served to tap into technology, use whatever you need to, but start getting those testimonials more and more systematically from every client because they're going to be very, very important in the future. Okay, great. What about blogging? Anybody a blogger in the room? Any bloggers in the room? Does anybody think they should be blogging, but they just can't seem to get it together, get it going? Okay. So we've all read the reports. We've all seen that blogging can help increase our SEO, right, our search engine optimization. But I was one of those people, like many of you, I just couldn't seem to get it going. It felt like one more thing that I had to do. So we're going to touch on blogging. I'll show you an easy way to get started so it's not overwhelming. And the other piece is email marketing. Now, I love it when people say, Chandra, email marketing is dead. I say, really? What's one of the first things you did this morning? They'll say, well, I checked my email. And then they just kind of get this funny look on their face, right? Like, oh, okay. So here's the deal. When I send people things through email, I don't necessarily think or believe that they are going to read every single word, but what I'm after is a marketing impression. So if they can see my face, my logo, associate me with real estate, that's a marketing impression, and that's what we're after. That's going to create, in marketing, a term that most of you are familiar with called TOMA, top of mind awareness. And that's why we get more referrals when we create that than when we don't. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about blogging. Now, anybody can do it, because it doesn't have to be, high tech, so hard. And there's a lot of empirical data as to why. We know that companies that blog get 55% more web traffic than people who do not. And I'd like you to consider starting a blog and think of it as your hub. Like your blog is your hub, and then everything else you do is a spoke off of that hub. So for example, when somebody asks me a question, if I've written a blog post on it, I can tell them so and then send them the link. So basically that would look like this. I'm at an open house and a buyer asks a question. And I can say, Mrs. Buyer, I'm so glad you asked that. In fact, I get asked that question very often. I actually have a really detailed blog post that I think you'll find informative. And that way it's all, in front of you in writing. I'll tell you what, just give me your email address. I'll shoot you over the link. So now I've communicated with them in a very different way. They give me their email address. I now have permission to email them, and I send them the link. And where is the blog hosted? On my website, right? So I've also then driven traffic to my website. So very simple process. The biggest and probably the hardest hurdle for a lot of people is just starting, all right? But that's one of the great ways to do it is think about questions that you get asked, and then you can write a blog post accordingly. And it will absolutely help your search engine ranking. Now, some people in the room may serve a niche market. This is a great way to provide information to that market. There was a gal in one of my seminars who shared that she was very much into skiing and, what am I trying to say, snow sports, right? Snowboarding and some of these things. You can tell I'm not a skier. So anyway, she was really into this. And so what she did is she added that to her blog. She would blog about real estate related items, but then she was also the one, writing a blog about where's the best place to go and, how do you get the discount lift tickets and so on and so forth. So, please don't allow yourself to get that tunnel vision and think, oh gosh, I don't know what to write about. It's an excellent way to provide some target marketing to a particular niche, right? Just think about what your passions and hobbies are, what you're passionate about, and you can share that in a blog post as well. All right, so how do you do this? Start with your interest, because if you're really good at something and you enjoy it, you are more apt to do it. Now, we talked about answering a question, right? We talked about that, so we've got that. But here's the other thing I want you to think about. People will read compelling headlines. And this has been a proven marketing strategy for years and years and years. Really put some emphasis on your headlines. Think about what sells. So people like how to do something, or tips to, or, one of my favorite, the 5 secrets to. Everybody wants the secret tips, what to do. And then remember how we talked about avoiding pain? The top 5 mistakes home buyers make and how to avoid them, right? That's going to generate the buzz and, the energy that you want. Because remember, people will absolutely go the extra mile to avoid pain. They want to know, what are the secrets? What are the tips? How do I avoid pain and, get what I want? All right, so let's talk about some other ideas as far as content creation. Doesn't all have to be about real estate. Bring some of your personality in there. Think global, but act local. Now, here's the trick to this. You want to use local keywords in your post and in your titles. So instead of just saying, I help sellers get top dollar for their home in Colorado, well, obviously, you would want to narrow that down to your particular community, and you'd pepper in those keywords and so forth in that particular post. Now, you could write about area news. You could write about construction projects. Now, I know this sounds kind of funny, but I spoke at the Alaska State Convention, and they had a lot of construction going on at that time, and there was a gal in the room, a realtor there, and she said, let me just tell you, I have gotten more leads and people calling me because I took it upon myself to write about the updates on the construction project, because people were frustrated, and they couldn't get the updates. So she just found her go-to person, and she would call that individual and get updates and then write a blog post about it. And then, some friends would share it and say, oh, gosh, this gal is totally on top of all the projects. If you want to know what's going on, go check out her website and her blog. So I know that, may sound a little silly. At construction, she got a lot of great leads out of that. New businesses or restaurants. Y'all like to go out, and enjoy time out with friends and family and so forth. Go to a new restaurant. Maybe it's in your, community or close to a geographic farm that you serve. Do a little blog post on it. Now, I think it goes without saying, if you had a bad experience at the restaurant, just don't do the blog post, right? We don't want to go there. We're not trying to be a food critic or anything like that. But it's a great way to start building that community. Share photos. There's been a few people in Colorado that have done a great job of this that I've seen. One realtor did a whole session on share your favorite Colorado sunset. So people were, posting photos and sharing things. And so just remember that you can, what we'd call crowdsource, right, to get the information. It doesn't have to be all on you. You don't have to create everything. You can get others to contribute. And people love to share their ideas, especially their photos and so forth. So, favorite Colorado sunset, favorite, skiing picture, I don't know, whatever it is, whatever you have an interest in, consider doing something like that. And then local events. Living down in the Springs, I will even say that there have been sometimes an event that will happen, and I'll find out about it after the fact, and I'll think, gosh darn, I wish I would have known that was going on. So there's always an opportunity to educate people about what's happening, in local events, because as much media is out there, it's overwhelming to people. So you could fill a great void by sharing what's going on locally. All right, now, does anybody feel overwhelmed yet? Like, how am I going to do all this? And, I don't know. All right, well, let me give you a tool. Has anybody been to NAR's newest site? Came out a couple years ago, called House Logic. Has anybody been there? Anybody in the room? A few of you have? Okay. Well, houselogic.com. Now, notice up here on the screen, I'd like you to go to /members. And the reason is because House Logic is a consumer site. It was put together to drive out to consumers to tout the benefits and advantages of using a realtor, right? So it's geared towards consumers. The great news for us as realtor members is we can go on the member side and we log in with our NAR ID and password, and we'll be taken to what you see up here on the screen, which is the realtor content resource. So then we can use the information that they've already written and created and put it on our blog, or use it in our buyer's guide, or our listing packets, or our website, whatever the case may be. So that's a great member benefit that I find a lot of people just simply aren't taking advantage of. So I would encourage you to go and check that out. houselogic.com/members. It will tell you exactly how to do that. There's certain attribution guidelines that you have to follow and so forth, but it's all very clear. It's all written out there. All right, so what I'd like you to do right now for yourself is take this moment right here, right now, and jot down 3 things. What would be the first 3 things that you could write a blog post about? I'm not talking, long paragraphs and I'm talking a few sentences, a paragraph, about 3 things. So 3 things. What would be your first 3 things that you would write a blog post about? I see everybody writing. Somebody tell me one. What'd you write down? The car convention. Excellent. What else? Where all the what, hun? Oh, where all the pumpkin patches are. That's great. What else? What else do we have? There's a new field house in Castle Rock opening this week. Perfect. I love it. You guys are, thinking exactly on the right track. Yes? Reminding people to vote. So there's lots of opportunities out there. So I'm just thrilled to hear all that in the room. You all have some great ideas, and they're all going to be unique to you, right? You'll put your own spin on them and so forth. And I'm a big fan of time blocking. I don't know if any of you do this as well. But what you want to do is give yourself a block of time to get this done. Because if you don't, you'll sit there and stress about it, and then you'll do something else, and, I've got an offer that came in, or, whatever, you'll get distracted. Just create a block of time of 20 minutes and say, I'm going to sit down and write my first blog post, and just give yourself 20 minutes. You will absolutely get it done. Isn't it amazing how work expands to fill the time? So the opposite is true. If you give yourself 20 minutes, you will absolutely get it done, you'll knock it out, and then, you move on to the next thing. Okay, good. Now, let me share with you a system that I got on in my business it's probably been 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago now or so. It's called In Touch. Is anybody using this or familiar with it? No? Okay. So this is a CRS-approved product. Now, you don't have to be a CRS designee to use it. I don't want to, put that out there. Anybody can use it. But it became really popular among a lot of the top agents in the CRS community because it is what we call automatic marketing. So it was an answer to direct email, social media, and blogging. So I'm just going to show you how we use this in our business, and then, you can determine or get some ideas and see if it's a fit for you. Now, here's the deal with direct email. I would send something occasionally, but I wasn't consistent. And I probably shouldn't admit this in public, let alone this is being taped, but I would be one who would get on social media and start looking up my ex-boyfriends, and who they married, and, what do their kids look like, right? I mean, all of a sudden, before you know it, 2 hours has flown by. It's a crazy, crazy time, warp tunnel. And then blogging, I started one, but I wasn't as consistent. And we know that one of the worst things you can do is start a blog and then abandon it. Because then people look at it and they think you're out of business. and you've all probably seen websites like that. So, you have to be careful with that. So here's what this system does. And I'll give you the website where you can go look at it and so forth. I mean, it's not my system, I just use it. It creates the content for you, as in that was the big win for me. So I don't have to write the content, it does it for me. Now you'll notice there's 3 boxes up there on the screen, and I have weekly checked because I do the weekly option. It will send this article that it has created for me, and it's all about how to be a better homeowner. So there's not humor, there's not like local news. I mean, it's none of that. It's just all about how to be a better homeowner, really positioning you and I as the real estate professional. It sends it out to every person in my database, and I choose to do it once a week. You could obviously do it bi-weekly or monthly, but I do it once a week because even if they don't read it, they see me, right? They see my face, they see real estate related items, and they make that connection, which is what I want. There was one that went out, which I thought was pretty cool. This one was how to make a great investment out of paying extra towards your principal. So you'll see up on the screen there's a little calendar in there, and it's a little interactive calendar, and people could put in there, it's called an equity accelerator, and so they could put in there their particular information, my interest rate, and so forth, and say, oh, gosh, honey, if we paid an extra $100 a month to our mortgage, what would that do? And then it just shows people the numbers and so forth. So it's really, all about educating people, things related to real estate. At the bottom of every email that goes out, it has these buttons that you see up here on the screen, and they're little lead generators. So let's say that somebody reads your email and they think, you know what? Gosh, we have really been needing to get that electrician over here and do something. Hey, let's, reach out to Chandra. I bet she knows an electrician, somebody we should use who will be good and not, mess us around and so forth. So they would click on this one, which is, it's not labeled here, but it's labeled in their email, and it says service providers. So they would click on that, it would send me an email instantaneously, and it would say, need to know information about service providers. And then I could follow up and give them the information that they need. Sometimes they want to know what their house is worth, or they're curious like what's going on in the area as far as value. So whatever it is, they're going to click on that button, it'll come right to your inbox. It's a nice way to reach out to people when they need us, right? Instead of putting the onus on them to think about you, send you an email, or call you on the phone, this allows them to do it really easily. Now, this is my Facebook page, and I took this screenshot because I wanted to show you that the system automatically posts things to my Facebook page. Now, it's all about real estate related items. So it's not my listings, because keep in mind, is it a violation of Facebook terms of use to post your listings on your personal page? Yes, it is. Do realtors do it? Yes, they do. Okay. But I will tell you, please, if you are in that practice, please be so careful. I was teaching a class in Hawaii, and there was a guy in the class that had his Facebook page shut down. So it can happen, and they will do it. So please be mindful of the rules. But if I'm having articles like how to finance a second home, it looks like that I found this Kiplinger article. Now, I happen to be a Kiplinger reader, but it looks like that I found this article, thought it was good, and wanted to share it, which is what we're supposed to do in social media. But I didn't find it. The system posted that for me automatically. And then people can share and post and comment and so forth. So that's what it does on the social media part. It sends that one article that was sent out to your database, it posts it there, plus it's going to post 4 more additional links. Now, it also sends it to my blog. So here's my website with my blog post here. I took this screenshot. And here's a blog about managing deductibles. Here's a blog about single-family homes for rentals. So again, it's all kind of hard-hitting, real estate-related stuff. It's not going to be, humor or kind of your personality, but you can also contribute to it as well. So I could tell the system to send me the article, and I'm going to Colorado Springs eyes. I just made up that word. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to make it like Colorado Springs, right? So I could choose to do that, or I could just have it post automatically. You had your hand up. Okay, great. So the question is, what if you have a business Facebook page? Now, 2 things. I can post my listings to my business page. That's appropriate, terms of use. And I could tell InTouch to post it to my business page as well. So it's just all in the settings. I can, choose to do that. I send it to both. That's just how I have it set up. Exactly. Then this is my blog, which is on my website, and then it's going to just post. I have a WordPress site. A lot of you are probably familiar with the WordPress format. So I have a WordPress site, and it's just what they call a widget or a plugin, and it's just going to post to it automatically. Someone else had their, yes, sir. No, no. Yeah, so his comment is, hey, if it was posted to your business page, is it a violation to post it to your, or share it on your personal page? And no, I have never seen anything that would lead me to believe that. And I'm doing that myself, so, you know, I sure hope it's not. But no, I've never seen anything to that effect. Yes? Yes, exactly. So her comment is, you know, the reason that Facebook has done that is because they wanted to create, you know, this social community, and they didn't want it to turn into, oh, I go on there and I'm being sold something every, you know, 2 seconds, right? So they want it to be about sharing and relationship building and so forth, and that's why they have the whole business page platform, so that the consumer is aware, oh, this is a business page, and then therefore there's a different expectation for that, you know, and it's just understood. Okay, great. So there it is on the blog. And then the other thing that I wanted to show you, now I wanted to take advantage of all of the system here. So what they did is they give you access to 32 financial applications. So again, I had my website guy, I should say, plug these into my real estate website so people can go on there and do that equity accelerator calculator or like a refinance analysis. So this is my website I'm showing you here, and I just put them under buyer financial tools. You know, it has a rent versus own. So people can see, like, should I rent? Should I own? You know, what makes more financial sense for me? So I like the financial applications as well. And then the other thing they do is they send out reminders to people via email. So Change Your Clocks is coming up as an example, so that's going to go out to everybody. Now I can go in the system and I can add my people's birthdays, their home anniversary, their wedding anniversary, and it will send them out an email card, you know, on that particular day. And then lastly, they came out with this about 6 months ago, and I was real excited about this because this was a missing void for me. We have some folks down in the Springs, like you probably have in your respective communities, that I would meet and they would not be ready to buy, as an example. Maybe they had credit problems. Do you run into any of that? So they're not ready to buy, and so here's my goal, just like yours. How do I get them in my pipeline so that I can get them on the road to home ownership and help them, but yet, you know, how do I do that and how can I take advantage of technology to do that? Well, a lot of you are certainly familiar with the term drip campaign, right? Drip campaigns have been around for years and years. So they created a drip campaign, and one is for buyers. Now, I only use the buyer one right now. You know, I didn't get into all the other ones yet. You know, I'm a big fan of small steps at a time. But just so you're aware, they do have one for expired listings, for sale by owners, and an investment series one. But so I can put somebody on the buyer information drip by just checking a box next to their name, and then they are going to get all of these valuable related articles sent to them, you know, via email, so that I'm just being in front of them with good, valuable, relevant information. And then, of course, I supplement it with, you know, following up with text, if that's their preferred mode of communication, or voicemail, or so forth. So I have a hand here, and then we'll go back over here. Okay, great question. So she's asking, do you put your contacts in here, or does it like talk to your system somehow? So InTouch for us has really become our CRM. Now, that works for us. Please don't misunderstand. I'm not saying that this is a full CRM, because it's not. You know, this is not a way for me to manage all my listings, or it's not going to send me an email to say, hey, the inspection deadline is coming up on Main Street, or whatever, right? So it's not a full CRM in that case, but for us, we've uploaded our entire database to it. Now, we do that once a week, and InTouch will weed out any duplicates, right? So that's nice. We don't have to remember, like, did we put this person in or not? We just upload the whole thing, and then we know that it's updated in there. Does that answer your question? Does that? Okay, yes. You can choose in there. So they have a couple of different options, you know, for timing and how you want that to work. So you just check the little box next to the timing that you want. Yeah. So, here's one that went out. It was about the Zillow 2014 housing projections. Now, as much as you may love to hate Zillow, or whatever your feelings are about that, does the public look at them? Absolutely. It's absolutely. So, I'm one to, hey, let's embrace this, and how can we, use this to our benefit? So my point is, it's all up-to-date, real-time, information that they're creating and, sending out to these buyers, so that hopefully I am top of mind when they make the choice. So this is a subscription product. Again, because I don't own this company, I just wanted to share the resource with you. It is a subscription product. They have $39 a month and a $100 startup fee. There's no contract, okay, so you don't, sign up for a long-term contract or anything. But as a user and a CRS instructor, they gave me the opportunity. So they set up this special code for you all. So here it is, Hall 30, which shows, hey, I found out about this at the Colorado State Convention. And you go to the website, which is on patzaby.com. He's the creator of this. He's a fellow CRS instructor. And you'll look for the product called In Touch. And if you use that code, you can get that $100 setup fee waived and get a 30-day free trial, so that you can really try it out, and see if it's a fit for you. It's been a great fit for us. I got to tell you, $39 a month has been awesome peace of mind to know that we're in front of people. Yeah, and then we get to supplement and do other things, but, at least we've got that set up. Now, this is not to replace your other marketing. Please understand, this is just one piece of it that you can use technology to your advantage. Oh, and I should say, too, I do the yearly option. You'll see that when you go on there if you prefer. If you're kind of one of these people that says, oh, this is a no-brainer, I know I'm going to do this, you can choose the yearly option because it saves you 2 months of subscription, the way that it's priced, because it's priced at $3.99. So anyway, you'll see that when you go on there if that's a fit. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about Facebook. I found this graph, which I thought was very applicable for Facebook. As you look up there, you can see, right, the blue chunk is high school people you hated. The red is college people you hated. Then we got the work colleagues, that you don't love either. And then you got your little actual friends. So we love to, joke about that with social media. And I was one of these people, I actually boycotted social media for a while. Because again, it was kind of a time suck, and, I was having challenges, with time management and so forth. And I thought, man, I got to get away from this. So I kind of boycotted it. And then I had, the realization, like, Chandra, come on, people are on here. If I want to be in relationship with people, my friends and family and so forth, I need to have some kind of presence on there. So I think for all of us, we have to kind of find that appropriate balance. Because the reality is, it's where people are, right? It's where our clients are. And it's easy to find them. Depending upon how their privacy settings are set up. Would you agree that you could go on social media and you could actually see what I call real estate triggers? Meaning you could see things happening in people's lives that they've shared that might indicate a need for a real estate move. Right? Absolutely, we can do that. That's what's so great about social media. So there's definitely advantages to it. Now, the trick to this is you need to make it easy for people to connect with you. So, just doing your own little check-in here, I want you to think of this. Do I have my social media connections on my email signature? Do I have them on my business card? Do I have it on my website? Do I have my like button, as an example, on my website? So that's just kind of a quick little check-in for yourself. And if you don't, please consider making that an action item, because you've got to make it easy for people. Think about how many times you have clicked on something, it doesn't load, and you're out of there, right? We all do that. We're all instant gratification, today with technology, and it's like, if it's too hard or too slow, it's like, nah, we're not going to do it. So the onus falls on each of us individually to make it easy for people to connect with us, through social media. So please, I'm not obviously going to ask out loud, but I just want you to, check in with yourself and see if that's the case for you. And if not, just take a few action steps to remedy that. All right, I want to show you a realtor out of Oklahoma. Anybody know Ryan Huckel, by any chance, out of Tulsa, Oklahoma? Ryan Huckel is his name. No? Ryan is a good example of someone who is doing a great job with social media, Facebook specifically. So I just offer you his sites here as a couple of examples. So if you go on Facebook and you search showmeokc.com, okay, so that's the name of his business page, showmeokc.com, which, by the way, what do you think that also is? His website, absolutely. Okay, so that's obviously no mistake. What he has done is he has made his Facebook business page much more about the community than just about listings. Have you ever seen a realtor's Facebook page and it's just like open house, listing, open house, and that's all there is the public grows weary of that. Okay, so I'm not saying, oh my gosh, don't ever do that, and that's terrible. I'm just saying recognize there's some other opportunities there to incorporate some other items. And so Ryan, as you can see on this screenshot, I know it's hard for some of you maybe to read so far away, but the post here says, so who's taking the day off tomorrow and heading to the Oklahoma State Fair for some fried food on a stick or some other indulgence? The one below it is talking about a fundraiser, Students Against Hunger food drive. So he's taking, things about the community. Now, you will see him post a listing on there as well, to let people know, or, hey, I'm going to be at this open house. But he's one of the realtors that I've met who have just done a great, great job of really taking a business page and, making that work for him. Now, he has a personal page as well, which is up here on the screen now. So you can see very different feel. There he is, with his wife on his motorcycle, and he has his son on there. And so, he shares different things on his personal page than he does on his business page. He has a lot of people that he hates, absolutely. He's got a lot of followers, right? Yeah, he's got a lot of friends. He sure does. So I just share that with you, as an example of, someone who's doing it right. Now, guys, I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention the legal pitfall to some of this. So just please be mindful, just as a quick mention here, there are some legal liability considerations, that we need to take into account. Today's day and age, unfortunately, is full of things like identity theft. So, be careful about what you're posting out there and, what you're making available and so on and so forth. Negotiation compromises are a big one for me. I actually have this little form that's part of my client expectations, what I expect of them. And I added something on there a couple of years ago, and it basically says, social media, what you say can and will be used against you. And it's just their little reminder, and I actually ask my clients, please do not discuss anything about your real estate transaction on social media until it is closed. Yep, until it is done. Now, that's never happened to me personally that I've had a bad experience, but I can tell you I've had a number of realtors in my seminars around the country who can share stories about, someone's kids were connected with the seller's kids, from high school, and they posted something on there, and it totally, made the negotiations go south. So, just be careful about the negotiation piece. Sharing too much information, right? That's another biggie. Have you ever seen some things on social media and you think to yourself, wow, what were they thinking? Yeah, sometimes, people just put too much out there and it's not appropriate. And proper use of IP, which stands for intellectual property. So please keep in mind, just because something is out there on the internet doesn't give all of us the right to use it. Is anybody in here familiar with the term Creative Commons? Have you heard of that? Creative Commons? So if you haven't, just jot it down. Creative Commons, it's actually creativecommons.org, I believe, it's .org. And there are, it's an online opportunity where people are posting things on there that they are giving people the rights to share, in certain ways. So you can obviously do something along the Creative Commons route, or you can go buy pictures, right? And, photos and videos and so forth. iStock photo is a very popular one. I like Fotolia. Fotolia is a nice one. There's another one. What else do I? Oh, Dreamstime. Dreamstime. A lot of graphic designers like Dreamstime. So you're just looking for the different avenues out there. But please make sure that you're using intellectual property correctly when you get into this. Okay. Now, two last pieces I want to share with you. One has to do with your website. So a lot of you I know in the room are on different, paths with this. Some people don't have a website. Some people maybe have a page on their brokerage firm's website. Some people have their own website. So, everybody's on a different path, but I'm going to share with you some ideas and some best practices that regardless of the path you're on, you'll be able to benefit from. All right, so let's start here with Ryan. So Ryan's website, showmeokc.com. You can tell, some of you probably can, by glancing at it, that it's a WordPress site. Okay, so it's built on the WordPress platform. And you'll notice several things are going on here. One, there's what we call some white space, right? So there's white space, which is nice for the eyes. This is what we're seeing above the fold. So if you haven't heard that term in a while, remember above the fold means what do I see on my screen before having to scroll down, okay? So above the fold, what does he have here? He's got, this would actually, if this was live, this is a screenshot, but this will scroll through, Okay, so he's got some scrolling pictures here. He has his social piece here, let's connect. And then he's got very clear navigation. Find a home, sell your home, featured homes, marketing, buying tips, and selling tips. Right, so I like how Ryan did that. It's very clear navigation. He's dealt with what a lot of people want, just even above the fold. Okay? Now, this is a template type site. So Ryan's was a custom site. This is a template type site. This is Sam Miller. He does a lot of business out of Knox County, Ohio. And he uses a website template or platform called RealPro. Is anybody familiar with that? RealPro? Yeah? So a lot of people like RealPro. So I wanted to bring that up. A lot of my CRS friends and colleagues and so forth like that as well. So RealPro is a site that you subscribe to, you plug into, and so forth. So if you can go to knoxcountyohio.com, and you'll get a feel for kind of what Sam's doing with it and how RealPro looks. And obviously you can click on the very bottom where it shows it's a RealPro site, and it'll take you to what they offer realtors and so on, if you're looking for that. Now, the other one that I wanted to share with you is a CRS designee, and he lives in San Antonio, Texas. He does a great business there. His name is Phil Becker, if any of you happen to recognize that name. But notice his website, Becker-Realtors. Okay, it's Becker-Realtors.com. And the cool thing about Phil, I think, is he's done some things really well. Notice above the fold, he's got a place for MLS home search. He has, again, some scrolling pictures. But then if you can see this on the bottom left, it says, which San Antonio community is right for you? Try our detailed community guide. Okay, so that's above the fold. Now, when you scroll down, here's what he has. Search like a realtor. Do y'all like that phrase? I love that phrase. I use that in my business because doesn't the public want to search like a realtor? It's a big catchphrase for people. Looking to rent and then contact an agent. And then here are his testimonials, video testimonials. So he's done a great job with video and getting some of those as well. When you click on that community guide, I encourage you, go to his site and do this because what you'll see is all the main communities in San Antonio. And if you click on those individual pages, you'll see a little video that Phil did about the community. Okay, so it's him talking about the community. And then it has different information about the community. Phil has really taken this to another level, which I think a lot of us could learn from, because many times we get so caught up in just marketing a listing, right, a home, we sometimes forget that there's a huge trend nowadays for people wanting to buy not just a house, but a community, right, and a neighborhood. So he's done a great job with that. Is anybody using these mini property cards? These little mini cards? Have you all seen these? If you want one afterwards, I have some up here. You can come grab it. It's my business card, and you can grab one, and you'll see what it looks like. But I actually had a realtor in Denver share this idea with me probably about 6 years ago now, and I love these things. So this is a great kind of a high touch but low tech, type of opportunity. But it's a way that we can marry some of the online marketing with, face-to-face physical marketing. So as you can see, looking at this sample card, this is my business card, which you're welcome to come take. You put a picture of the house on the front, a couple of interior shots on the back with some bullet point features, and of course it has your information on it. And if you gave this out to a seller, do you think they'd pass them out? Of course they would, because they want to sell their house all day long, so they will absolutely do that. So it's become a great marketing vehicle. Now, what I would encourage you to do, like we finally did, get some sold stickers. Because once the property is sold, we can't be passing out the cards. I mean, we'd be advertising property that's not for sale. But then, once we have a property sold, we use the sold stickers, then we can use them as our business cards. Or we use them in our, listing packages to show sellers, what we do that's unique and different. So, love the mini property cards. Would encourage you to, take a look at some of that as well. And then the last piece that I want to share with you is around video. So, do we have any big video users in the room? Anybody do a lot of video? We got a few hands, okay. So here's what we know. People will tend to spend 6 minutes on a site with video as opposed to 60 seconds on a site without. Now, I took that really to heart, and I'll tell you, one of the best things I did a couple years ago is I invested in a couple of what I'm going to call intro videos on my website. So, we don't have time, and I'm not going to go live to that right now, but if you go to chandrahall.com, that's my real estate site, if you look under the Buyers and Sellers tab, you'll see how I did that, and you could absolutely do the same. So it's been one of the best investments that I have made is to get some videos on my website. Now, there's lots of great uses for video. Get your success stories or your testimonials. You could do neighborhood house tours, open houses. You could interview experts. It doesn't always have to be you that's only on camera. Could you get your lender to be on camera with you and you have a quick discussion, 60-second discussion with the lender about what's going on with interest rates or different loan programs and why is now the time to buy and so on and so forth. Lots of opportunities to bring some of your affiliates on board. So if you have not, I will encourage you to get on board with some email marketing. I'm going to give you 2 websites that you can start this out for free. Try it out. It's a great way to start. iJot. Anybody been on iJot? Any iJot users in the room? No? So iJot is video email marketing. And the reason that I always encourage realtors to start with this is because it's easy. It's not like you have to figure out, okay, I'm going to upload this video to YouTube and I got to have the right meta tags and all. It's like that can be overwhelming for some people. So it's like, okay, let's not do that right now. Let's just start with an easy email video. So what you do is you go on there, you sign up, it's free. You would click the little record button by sitting in front of your laptop with your webcam there. You'd say your message and then you'd click stop. And that's it, because there's no editing, there's no uploading, there's none of that. And then you can email it out to whomever you choose. So the first time I did this, I went on there, I sang happy birthday to a friend. Do not worry, it is not live. We're not going to play it. But I just wanted to show you what this looks like. Because I'm on the free version, it has the iJot logo. Okay, so that's why, because I'm on the free version in this example. But it's not some creepy link that people think is a virus. It's a picture with a play button on my face. It's what people are used to seeing for videos. And it even says, you have new video mail from Chandra Hall. Now, they have paid versions. You can go on there. This is a friend of mine, James. He went on there and he created his own banner so that, there he is again with the play button on his face, but it's just branded to him. There's a Colorado Springs-based company, BombBomb. That's the other option that's really popular, bombbomb.com. And again, it's just an email marketing platform. So very easy to do. I encourage you, get on there, start with just your family and friends. Get on there, record a video, start with your family and friends. And I'll tell you, the best advice that I ever got, and I'll pass it on to you, there was a gal in one of my seminars in Dallas a number of years ago, and we were talking about video. And this is when, certainly a lot of people hadn't even taken the leap at all yet into video. And she stood up, and she was one of those, very beautiful Dallas gals, the stereotypical, had big hair and just glammed up. And she was such a neat gal. And she stood in the back of the room, and she said, listen, all y'all, let me tell you the best advice I ever got about video. And she shared that she was on the news, used to be a newscaster. She said, here's the best advice you'll ever hear. Yes, you look like that. Yes, you sound like that. Get over it and do it anyway. That's what she said, and we all laughed, but that has always stuck with me. Because for a lot of us, sometimes that's the hang-up, like, oh, I don't like how I look, or oh, I sound weird. Get over it, right? Just get over it and do it anyway. So, here's what I want to leave you with. Underwhelm yourself. I'm a big fan of small daily steps. Invest in one thing. You're not going to run out of here, and leave convention after you've been to all these great different sessions and learning opportunities and so forth, and do it all. You're just not going to, right? So invest in just one thing at a time, small daily steps to do that. And when you're thinking about online, please remember to be yourself, right? Be original. Let your personality shine through. Because sometimes copying someone else can be very dangerous. Take a look.
Your brain gets smart, but your head gets numb. So much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with taking the back streets? You'll never know if you don't go. You'll never shine if you don't blow. Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get paid. And all that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold.
Copying, right, is not always good for you. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for investing this 55 minutes of your most valuable asset, your time. My contact information is up here on the screen. If you have any questions, if I can be a resource, please feel free to reach out. If you, that's my cell phone number. Text me, email me. If I don't get back to you within 48 hours via email, please call me, because I probably, your email got lost in the shuffle, or, I just didn't get to it, and I want to make sure you're taken care of, all right? Thank you so much. If you'd like one of these little cards, you're welcome to come up here and grab one. Have a great rest of the day, and thank you for coming.